Alright, hello people from the internet, hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. The time has come for me to make another non-gameplay video, so here I am, about to make the video of Elyvilon. Thank you for your patience in this time of rather infrequent uploads. I'm trying to do my best, and there will be more God overviews, more non-gameplay videos, and if you have any other requests or suggestions for videos, you can always let me know, and there's a good chance that you'll give me inspiration to make a video because one of the most difficult things when it comes to making videos is like figuring out what people want to see. Um, so yeah, just tell me what you want to see, and I'll see if I can make it happen. Chances are good that it can happen. Anyway, here we are going to be talking about Elivilon. Elivilon the healer welcomes all kind souls prepared to help others. Those individuals can expect to gain powerful healing abilities, by which they can avoid bloodshed. Elivilon appreciates exploration of the dungeon. Big deal. Elivilon's followers can convert to the Shining One or Zin while keeping some piety. As the game says, only exploration piety from Elivilon, so piety is not as plentiful as it would be with other gods. It's still plentiful enough for you to not roleplay an atheist while worshipping Elivilon. But I do think that Elivilon is on the weaker side of gods, and by extension, closer and closer to atheists than other gods would be. So Elivilon's powers. Elivilon occasionally guards your life. Well, let's talk about this. The healer offers followers a number of means to heal themselves from damage and other ill effects. Followers may also attempt to pacify hostile monsters and turn them neutral. This is pretty much an insta-kill, because if a monster is not hostile to you, it might as well not exist. Elivilon may directly intervene to save a follower's life, and if there has been no such intervention recently, is sure to prevent a killing blow against especially pious followers. This is a much better way to do this than it used to be. Elivilon used to have an activated ability where Elivilon was guaranteed to save your life. Every time that it triggered while it was active, it costed you a ton of piety. And you obviously got penance when you killed something if it was active because for obvious reasons. Um, Elivilon may also occasionally protect the follower's allies from death. So yeah, kind of a nice little summoning synergy there. It's not really as good as the Shining One's summoning abilities, which shall be discussed in another video. But it's still okay, I suppose. I guess um, you can also heal your own allies, so that's another little synergy when it comes to summons. Um, Elivilon, Elivilon's abilities are um, very straightforward. You just heal stuff. You heal yourself, you heal other monsters, you heal allies. That's all that Elivilon does. So let's talk about this. You can purify yourself. So I actually was recording this, but I stopped because I didn't like what I was saying. I downloaded a local version of Crawl, started this Wizmode, and pulled up the description for this. So what does this say? It says purges your body of poison, confusion, slowness, petrification, weakness, and sickness. Any drained strength, dexterity, or intelligence will also be fully restored, along with any drained maximum health. So it removes all poison, confusion, slowness, petrification, weakness, sickness, drained strength, dexterity, intelligence, and HP. It gets rid of a lot of stuff. It's like a potion of curing plus other stuff. The piety cost isn't even high. So if you for some reason get super drained, or you went into Spider and now you're walking out with 15 drain stats or so because ghost mods are very fun monster design, you can use this ability and then you don't have any issues. Um, since the piety cost isn't small or isn't very high, you also can kind of spam it, but on the other hand, you also kind of can't spam it because exploration piety. But it's a really nice thing to have access to. So the next one is you can heal and attempt to pacify others. What does that mean? It means um, It means that it heals a creature other than yourself by a moderate amount, depending on the invocation's skill. Using this ability on hostile monsters will try to turn them neutral. This works best on living creatures, with the undead and demons being progressively harder to pacify. Intelligent creatures are also more difficult to pacify. Ghosts of dead adventurers and demon lords are too wrathful to be pacified. Mindless creatures are too unintelligent to be pacified, and the monster can be pacified while it is asleep. Whether the pacification succeeds or not, the invested piety and magic points are lost. If it does succeed, the monster is healed and you gain the monster's full experience value. So, as you can see, if you heal, it's literally an insta-kill. Smite-targeted instant kills. That's what Elivilon offers. It's just not called instant kill, it's called heal other. Otherwise, the monster is unaffected and you gain nothing. So, yeah, very powerful ability. Costly in terms of invocations training to really get going, but as you can see, it is pretty powerful. It's literally an instant kill ability. Um, Elivilon used to have more abilities, like it used to be lesser other healing and greater other healing, and greater other healing did cost piety, lesser other healing did not. So the strategy with Elivilon was just get a little bit of invocations, go into the lair, and spam lesser heal other on everything in lair because animals are very easy to pacify. And yeah, but that's how it was back in the day. Now Elivilon is a more traditional goth that doesn't let you do super broken things like trivialize the entirety of the lore. Um, Now you just use this whenever you actually would appreciate the insta kill. For example, I would try to use it versus Hydras because at the end of the day, Hydras are still animals, so it should not be very difficult to heal them and to pacify them. And that way you save yourself the trouble of a rather worrisome fight at very little cost because it does cost piety, but it doesn't really cost that much piety. So it is a nice ability to have heal other. Next is you can provide healing for yourself. What does this mean? Heals a moderate amount of health, depending on invocation's skill. I think that at 27 invocations, it is roughly equivalent to drinking 3 potions of heal wounds, which is very strong, to be completely fair. But it does require you to have 27 invocations. Now, with Elivilon, it makes perfect sense to train invocations because of the ability that we already talked about. Heal other is literally an instant kill, so I think it is worth it to train to 27 invocations for an instant kill. I think that you can even instant or like you can even neutralize orbs of fire, but don't trust me on that one. I don't know if orbs of fire are mindless. In fact, I guess we can check right now real quick. Okay, orbs of fire are not mindless, so you can theoretically pacify them with heal other. It probably is not the easiest thing to do, considering how dangerous these things are. I'm starting to think that I should try an Elivilon run where I just go 27 invocations and I try to pacify orbs of fire and other sot denizens. It might be interesting, and I might die in the late game, but this is the kind of risk that you sometimes have to take. So Elivilon is what we were talking about. Heal self can be okay. Theoretically, this is useful for Jin because obviously as a Jin you want to heal yourself, so you can continue spamming spells and not dying in the process. But I feel like Maklev and other gods are just way better gods for Jin than Elivilon would be. Okay, final ability. You can call upon Elivilon for Divine Vigor. This is a pretty sick ability. Divine Vigor says that it greatly increases your maximum health and magic points depending on invocation's skill. Your current health and magic points will also be increased proportionally. So, this is kind of like berserking, except that it's not really berserking because it also stacks with berserk, but it does increase your HP, so you can use it to protect yourself, and then you can use berserk to have even more HP. It can get pretty ridiculous. 27 invocations, Ogre of Elyvilon with 27 fighting and Robust with Dragon Form can have way more than 1000 HP. Um, but of course, that's a huge gimmick. I would not really recommend you to do that. But it can be nice to just like spontaneously have 600 HP or so, which is definitely way more realistic than 11 or than 1000 plus HP. Yeah, you can get to 600 HP plus on most characters, almost all characters. When you're going Elivilon, you have 27 invocations and 27 fighting, and you're using Divine Vigor. You don't even need a form, or you might need a form actually. Well, or Berserk. Um, but anyway, you know what I mean. If you stack buffs that give you extra HP, the extra HP really gets going. It makes it so that it's pretty difficult for you to die. It can still happen, so don't be careless. It's a pretty strong ability. I like it. The Piety cost is moderate, so it's not really spammable. But if you're going into Elf or Bolts 5 or Slime or Sot, those big flashy fights that can be difficult for you to disengage from or to survive without using buffs, that's the kind of situation where you want to use Divine Vigor. Pretty much imagine situations where you want to use Might and Haste. That's the same kind of situation where you want to use Divine Vigor, pretty much. It's just another combat buff. Pretty strong one. So yeah, another thing that I would like to mention. Elivilon may directly intervene to save a follower's life, and if there has been no such intervention recently, it is sure to prevent a killing blow against especially pious followers. This is new. I have not ever played a single game of Elivilon with this ability in the game. That's a good enough reason for me to play Elivilon in the near future, so I can experience it myself and I don't know, make a follow-up on this ability. It sounds nice that it is guaranteed. It used to not be guaranteed unless you use the ability. I think all the good gods have a chance to protect you, but Elivilon is the only one that has a way to guarantee your protection. So I like this a lot because something as important as not dying, it should be the most important thing to your character. Not dying should not be left to a random chance. If Elivilon guarantees that you're not gonna die in case you get hit by a killing blow, that's a pretty nice thing to do or to have access to. This, of course, becomes less and less useful the more monsters you're fighting. If you have like 4 trolls next to you and I don't know, Helion in the back row, about to about to damnation you the moment you get rid of the trolls, maybe you shouldn't rely on this because it's gonna trigger, and you're gonna be life safe, and then just the next troll is gonna hit you and you're gonna die. So yeah, do not rely on this if you're fighting multiple monsters. But if it's like a long drawn out fight and you're at like 1 HP, but the monster you're also fighting is at 1 HP as well, you can use this to try to be greedy and kill the monster, as long as you know for sure that Elivilon is gonna save you. I would not recommend it against monsters with multiple attacks, so do also keep that in mind. But if you lose and you don't kill the monster and the monster hits you, then you can I don't know, proceed to blink away or something. It's just a nice little way to preserve scrolls of blinking, I suppose you can think of it like that. Yeah, Elivilon is all of that. Now, when it comes to Wrath, Elivilon's Wrath is even more irrelevant than the average God Wrath. Why do I say this? Because normally you should not abandon a god, but with Elivilon you can even abandon Elivilon for most other gods, and Elivilon will be like whatever. The only gods that Elivilon will be mad about are these: Kiku, Dreth, Maklev, Lugonu, Beog, and Dithmenos. Not Jiva, not Som. Not Behemoth. So yeah, there's gods that you read the description and you would be like, oh yeah, this is probably an evil god, but no, these are the only evil gods in the game. Kiku because necromancy, Jared because Death Knight, Maklev because demons, Lugonu because god of the abyss, Beog because heretical god of the orcs, and Dithmenos because Umbra. Pretty much that's the reasons why. So yeah, if you're going a good god and you decide that it's a terrible idea, which is a perfectly common sentiment to have, especially if you're going sin. You can abandon it and it will be fine. Do not abandon it for one of these though, because Elivilon is not a god known for wrath. Still, those earning Elivilon's ire will find the healer occasionally protecting their foes from their attacks and even from death. So yeah, it pretty much gives every monster a tower shield. This is how this reads to me. Imagine that every monster has a tower shield if you abandon Elivilon, and everyone knows how miserable it is to fight against things with tower shields in this game, so maybe don't abandon Elivilon if you are going to abandon Elivilon for these gods. But yeah, just don't abandon in general. I think that's the easiest way to go at it. I know that I said every god overview, but I cannot help but to insist on it. Abandoning gods except for Ignis is not a good idea, and you should not do it. If you have to ask if it's a good idea to abandon the god, the answer is no. Do not do it. Just to stick with it, and you're more likely to win the game. Um, the old era of going Okawaru into abandoning for the Shining One, that's rather obsolete in my opinion. I definitely would not recommend anyone to do that nowadays. If you want to go the Shining One for some 15 rune shenanigans, just go the Shining One from the very beginning. The Shining One is a good god. And not only in the terms of game good god, I will eventually make the video about the Shining One. I might even make it just like Elivilon, Sin, and the Shining One all together, because it's gonna take me forever to get to Sin and the Shining One if I go in alphabetical order. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Elivilon, and a bit about the good gods as well. I would recommend you to try Elivilon. You might end up liking a lot the fact that Elivilon literally has an insta-kill ability. I would recommend Healorc, because Healorc has a ton of invocations to skill. Unfortunately, Demon Spawn, which is another species that has a ton of invocations skill, is banned from Elivilon because Elivilon does not like undead and demons. So no vampire, no ghoul, no Demon Spawn, and no mummy. And there may be another one that I'm missing, but I think those are the ones that Elivilon for sure does not like, and by extension, all the other gods also do not like them. So yeah. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate your continued support. I appreciate the nice comments that I've been receiving recently, and I hope that you still enjoy my content. Thank you to my supporters on Patreon: Anthony Emergence, Blink and Die, Dulos Ball, Inon, Grafophilia, and Fete. Some people here have cancelled their subscriptions. It is perfectly fine. I think that the fact that you contribute at all makes it so that the least that I can do is still have you here, even if you withdraw your contributions. Now, if you don't want me to have your name here, you can tell me and I can remove it and everything will be okay. You can even contact me again so that I can put it back. It's up to you. Anyway, I still appreciate your support and I hope you have a nice rest of your day and stuff.